Well, here we are back once more. Now, we left our tiger story in 2012 with those three early production tigers that I told you about. Well, let's jump forward to 2016, and we came to one of the most fun stories, as far as I'm concerned, with any of our tiger tanks. As many of you know, I love war movies, as many of us do. And one of my favourite war movies from the early 1970s was Kelly's Heroes. Now, if any of you have seen Kelly's Heroes, one of the things that I loved about that movie was the whole movie was filmed in Yugoslavia. And I was very fortunate that earlier this year, when I was at the West Coaster show in Los Angeles, I actually met someone who worked on the movie Kelly's Heroes, and it was the movie director, John Landis, who is actually a King and Country collector. I'm sure he collects other toy soldiers, but he was at the show, and I think he was actually picking up some King and Country figures when I met him. And John told me that he had worked on the movie Kelly's Heroes when he was just starting out in the film industry. But as I said, one of the reasons that I loved this particular movie was this was one of the first times in a movie where they actually had what appeared to be three actual Tiger tanks. Now, as it turned out, they weren't really real Tiger tanks. Those things are like hen's teeth, they're so rare. What the film company did was they bought three old decommissioned Russian T-34 tanks from the Yugoslav army, and then they literally built on top of them imitation Tiger hulls and turrets and guns, so that they had all the appearance of real Tiger tanks. And if you've seen the movie, you'll also see a kind of rather strange camouflage paint scheme, which is a mixture of field grey and what looks like some sort of grassy green camouflage. Anyway, we decided that we were going to make one of those Tiger tanks that appeared in the movie, and it's this one here, Hull 115, and on top of the tank is a figure based on the tank commander that appeared in the movie. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember the actor's name. I think it was Carl Alberti, I think. But anyway, he appeared in so many movies in the 1960s and 70s, always playing a villainous Nazi. In this particular case, he was a Tiger tank commander. Anyway, we decided that we would also take one of our Tiger models and convert it into a movie Tiger, and that was 115. Needless to say, it was a raging success and sold out immediately, and a lot of guys were saying, hey look, there was another two Tiger tanks in the movie, why don't you do those as well, so that people could buy the whole set of Tigers that was in Kelly's Heroes. So we've got hull number 113 and hull number 114, which we did. We went ahead and produced them. And so again, there's quite a few King and Country Tiger collectors who've got all three of the Kelly's Heroes Tigers. Now, the other thing, nothing to do with the Tiger, but to do with the movie. A very good friend of mine in the States is a collector called Tom Dubell. And I used to always meet Tom at the Chicago show or sometimes the West Coaster. And Tom told me that one of the models he had in his own collection was a plastic Sherman tank that he had got someone else to convert into the Sherman tank that was Oddball's Sherman from the movie Kelly's Heroes. And I thought, hey, that would make a terrific model to go with our Kelly's Heroes Tiger. And Tom very kindly loaned me his plastic Sherman tank so that we could copy it and do a version for King and Country. And again, that it's not here today, but maybe I'll do a separate feature on that one day. Anyway, through that led on to this whole mini Kelly's Heroes set, and it was great to see something that looked like a real Tiger tank in a Hollywood movie instead of an M48 or an M47 Patton with a cross painted on the side like they did in that terrible movie Battle of the Bulge. Anyway, moving away from movies, let's get back to our other Tiger tanks. Following from the 2016 release of the Kelly's Heroes Tigers, we went back to doing an actual Tiger tank. In this case, Michael Wittmann's first Tiger tank, and that is this model here. This was produced in 2017. Was so popular that again, people said, well, you know, Wittmann also had another Tiger that he used later in 1943 in the winter campaign in Russia. Why don't you do that one as well? This is what we have here, S04, and that was the Michael Wittmann's Winter Tiger. That was released also in 2017, and it was going to be another really 4 years before we decided to do one more. So when we decided to do one more, that's when we decided to try something different. We'd already been met up with some really good people in China, and we talked about the idea of doing a tank that was going to be a huge improvement. Just as our polystone tanks were a development from the original wooden tanks, this was going to be a major development from the polystone. We were going to go over to virtually a full metal tank, and that's the model you see right at the end, 411, not been released yet, but in the process of production at the moment. And this is a tank that again has got many unique features. King & Country Tiger, probably the very best one yet. But again, we'll leave that to the next video. Thanks again.